this workspace needed something different. It needed to be clean and inspirational. So I got to work. And piece by piece, I think I've actually built something that I would like. Or at least for a couple of months until I decide I don't like it anymore. Enjoy. A clear desk is a clear mind. This is something I've always known, and I've tried to do this for the most part in all of my previous setups. However, recently, I just got a second display, which I did a review for. If you're interested in having a look, I'll leave a link in the description or actually a card somewhere. The second display has done wonders for my productivity, by the way. However, this caused me to have two stands on the desk, which wasn't ideal for me. So I thought this was a great opportunity to actually create the workspace I've always wanted. Well, within the confines of what my landlord would allow. So there were ultimately two things I wanted to achieve with this new setup. I wanted it to be clean and very functional. Like most desk setups, your monitor arm of choice is pretty much going to be the cornerstone for everything else that you're going to build around this. So naturally, this was my starting point in picking the items that I needed to make this work. So I went with this Wally dual monitor arm. I'll put the exact model number if this is something you're interested in. I think it looked quite unique compared to most of the other monitor arms I've seen, and I just kind of liked the overall aesthetic design it was given. Plus, it could also handle a 32-inch screen side by side with a 27-inch screen. I didn't see a lot of this on Amazon, so this seemed to be the one that matched everything I was looking for. Very slim and minimal aesthetics. It had the white and gray thing going on, which I think matches what I was going for, and had really great cable management in my opinion, I think. Once I had ordered all the parts that I needed, it was time to take down the old and rebuild a new. It's not that serious. I don't know why I'm talking like that anyways. Now with my old setup, which was pretty clean and minimal for what it was, my setup just had two displays, both with their stands, but it wasn't ideal to keep adjusting the stands whenever I needed them to. So I needed something that would not only push all the displays all the way to the back so that I have the most space, but give me more flexibility in controlling how I wanted the displays to look. I just wanted a monitor arm where I could direct all of the cables into like a small sleeve and tuck that somewhere so that it's clean. My cable management is not where I want it to be, trust me, I know, but at some point it will. And by the way, if you want to embark on a test setup, just make sure that you get the right length of cables, because I didn't and I paid the price for it. I also got these cable management sleeves that you can just pretty much put all of the cables in and wrap it up. I think it's a neat way to keep things tucked away, and it kind of has two colors. So if your setup is going for a darker aesthetic, you can use the dark side. If it's something that's brighter, you can use the white side. One thing I would say is that if you were one of those who ordered the M8 earlier on, you know that this was not VESA mount compatible. So I ordered an adapter from Etsy, which worked perfectly fine. So setting up the Samsung MA mount was pretty straightforward. It came with clear instructions, and I'll leave a link to the particular Etsy store I got this from. I've actually ordered an adapter from them before and it was pretty good, so be sure to check them out. Now, starting out with the desk, this is pretty mid. I just went with a regular IKEA desk. I just wanted something simple for the setup. Now, the displays are probably the most obvious thing you're going to notice. To the left, we have the Samsung Viewfinity S9. It's a 5K monitor that goes up to 27 inches. I've absolutely loved this display, and I think this is as good as you're going to get without actually getting the Apple Studio display. The color representation is very rich due to that DCI-P color space, and it gets pretty bright, so you have a very decent HDR experience. And to the right, we have the Samsung M8 4K monitor. Its size is about 32 inches, and this is probably its biggest selling point. It's what I use definitely more often for work and general productivity. Both displays kind of informed my choice for the monitor arm. It has a small footprint, so it can hold both monitors on one base mount, and setting this up was pretty straightforward as well. It wasn't anywhere as difficult as I thought it would be. This does not come with a gas spring, by the way. It just uses normal mechanical springs, but they're of very good quality. So when you set this up, as you can see in the video, I just mounted this somewhere so I could build the actual arm itself, then move it to my desk. To adjust the tension, it's just by tightening the screws in, and if you want it to be a lot more loose or free, you just unscrew in the opposite direction. And I also like the fact that with this monitor arm, it allows me a lot of flexibility. If I really want to peep some details, I can adjust the monitor just how I want it. I like the freedom the monitor arm actually gives. And when I have some time, I want to relax, I relax with some Lies of P. How ironic. While these displays definitely have their flaws, they've won my heart over. I absolutely love these displays. I don't see myself changing them for a very long time. Now, the first item we're looking at from the right, apart from the displays, will be the wireless charger. Now, I really didn't put too much research into this. I just literally went on Amazon, iPhone 13 mini compatible wireless charger, and this was what popped up. It works as it should, and I can put my phone on the charging deck, and it works perfectly fine. The rate of charge is definitely not going to be as fast as if it's plugged to the wall. Within an hour, I'm usually able to get a full charge, so that's decent for me. This was also very cheap, which is one of the main reasons I got it. However, one thing I would say is that it doesn't have a lot of weight. So if you want to use it the way I have it, I put a double stick underneath so that would give it some much needed support. So it's a little bit more sturdy. If you just put it on, it's not going to be able to hold that weight. And that's a 13 mini, so that's not even a heavy phone. Prior to this, I was never really into wireless chargers. I just thought they were an extra expense. But since been using them now, I can definitely say I really love them. It's not clogging up any space and it's charging at the same time. So this is a good way to make sure that I'm always charged up whenever I need it. Moving over to the two lamps we have on either sides. I really love these lamps because they're practical and they actually offer good lighting. You can notice this one to my right. I really like the effect that it brings in my videos. And some of the times if I'm doing an unboxing on that table, it also doubles as an extra source of light. The new version they have now is an RGB lamp, so it can give you both the cool white and the warm white as well as RGB colors. That would be what I would recommend if you're looking to get these lamps, because if you wanted a bit more creativity in your setup, this could be really good. At the down right corner, we have the Alienware R12. I got this, I think, at the time where mining was still a thing. By today's standards, this might be considered like a mid system, but I think it's quite decent for most activities. It's great for content creation and even gaming decently. And you can still really push this depending on how you optimize your settings to your games and get even 4K 60 frames per second, depending on the situation. Now, just to give you a quick rundown on the specs, this is a Core i7 11700F. I have it configured at 48 gigabytes of RAM, and that's clocked at about 3200 megahertz and about 2 terabytes of storage. And this is configured with an RTX 3080 GPU, the 10 gigabyte variant. This is a pretty comparable GPU in my opinion. Obviously, it's nowhere as good as the 40 series cards, but it's very decent for content creation, even gaming 4K 60 frames per second for most games. Maybe more AAA titles, it can do that at medium settings, but it's a very, very decent graphics card and could still max out a lot of things at 1440p. So will I recommend it right now? Definitely, if you have the choice, go with the 40 series, but for now it's perfectly fine and I don't see myself needing to upgrade it. In conclusion, I think I'm happy with where I'm at right now. Can it improve in the future? For sure, absolutely. Maybe a standing desk, I don't know, we'll see. But for now, I'm happy with what I have right now, and I think this is by far the best and most productive creative space I've had. Hopefully you enjoyed this video taking you through a tour of my desk setup. If you had any questions, any ideas, suggestions, do let me know in the comment section. So until the next one, stay safe and have a great time.